Well, hi there, friends. I'm Thomas Wooden Railway, and it's that time of year again. With the holidays just around the corner, I thought it would be appropriate to do my first Thomas Wooden Railway unboxing video in more than 2 years. Yes, it's been a long time, and part of that reason is due to the fact that with Thomas Wooden Railway being discontinued a couple of years ago, it is becoming harder and harder to find new in-box merchandise. But as you can see, I have raveled up a couple of items here for your viewing pleasure. So over the course of this video and maybe a part 2, I am going to go through and unbox all of these items. We have like some normal single engines right here, which I'm very excited about. We also have some bigger destinations. Those are always fun to unbox. We even have the lifting bridge right here. And for the first time in this video series, I think I'm going to unbox a couple of sets. Now, these sets are items that I don't think I'm ever going to devote an individual video to on my channel. So if I'm going to unbox them, well, I might as well do it so that you guys can see them. And maybe, just maybe, if things go well, we might actually take a look at some Thomas Wood items that you see up there. Oh yes, very exciting. So I am just thrilled to be back doing unboxing videos. Even these mysterious boxes that like don't have any artwork on them, like what could be inside? It's all so mysterious, and really I can't wait to get started. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Alright everyone, like I said, I am very happy to be back and bringing you some new Thomas Wooden Railway items to unbox. And like I said, it's a bit difficult for these videos to continue because if they're not making the brand anymore, well then you don't have any new in-box Thomas items to save up for a video like this. But anyway, I'm glad to be back, and let's start off with this item right here. I think this is an item that everybody will like to see unboxed. This is Lady, and at the top there, if you can see, it says copyright 2006. So, very mysteriously, I have never had this version of Lady in my collection. I have the very first version, which came out right around the year 2000 for the release of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. And then they sold that version, which notably has a very small face and smoke box. They sold that version for a couple of years, and then I want to say around like 2003, 2004, we kind of got an upgraded version or an updated version where everything's just a little bit bigger. Like, you know, the smoke box is bigger, the face is bigger, honestly, even the cab is bigger. And I don't think I've ever really examined one of these up close, so I kind of want to just take it all in and see what details there are. I do want to point out kind of a very lacking character card description here. All they say is that Lady is a very special golden engine who holds the secret to the Magic Railroad. I just find this funny because they have this giant space right here where they can fill in, you know, they could even give, plot points about Thomas and the Magic Railroad, like, Lady was lost, and then Thomas came and saved her, and now blah, blah, blah. But, and it's weird, in other character cards of the past, sometimes the descriptions just go on and on and on, and this one is just short and sweet, and I just think it looks a little bit awkward because you have all this space right here that you could use. But anyway, let's get this thing unboxed. It might be a little bit of a challenge because this is one of those what they call like anti-theft packaging things where, yeah, look, all the cardboard's coming off, and I need to get inside. Maybe I have a little glimpse of hope right here. You're probably wondering why I'm not keeping this one in the box because, it's over, it is 15 years old. But like I said, I've never had this version of Lady before, and I found this item for a pretty decent price. It was between like $25 and $30, which a couple of years ago I would have said, man, you're crazy for spending that on Lady or an engine of this size, But Thomas Wooden Railway prices, especially in the last 2 years, have skyrocketed. It's been really crazy to witness this. In fact, I just saw a 2013 version of Lady that was made by Mattel. It's one of the rare Mattel releases because it did not have a wide release. And that sold for over $70 new in box on eBay. So it's kind of like the wild, wild west out there where take no prisoners attitude, I guess. So anyway, I finally got that unboxed. That was a little bit of a pain, but actually could have been a lot worse. If you want to stay tuned until the end of the video, I will likely do one of my usual closing shots where I have all of the plastic and trash that I've accumulated. But anyway, let's talk about Lady here. Here's that character card. I notice in the packaging the way, you can see up here it's kind of been smushed a little bit, and it's been sitting like that for 15 years. So the character card's a little bit bent. It's not a big deal. I do collect and keep the character cards that I find or that I get with purchases, but honestly, you know, a lot of the new items that I get over the years are still Mattel releases, Fisher-Price releases from like 2013 or so, and those didn't have character cards, and then character cards stopped in the learning curve era around like 2009 or so. So it's kind of a big deal to get a character card. And this pamphlet right here, I don't want to open it all the way because we've seen a lot of these over the years. But the pamphlets are sorely missed. What's funny is that the pamphlets dated 2007, but Lady was dated 2006. Let's just take a quick look, like a very quick look inside here. All right, usual. Speaking of the holidays, we got some Christmas Thomas items there. And let me adjust the camera real quick so we can get a better view. Let's see, so we're advertising Rocky. Okay, yeah, this is clearly from 2007 because we have Derek and Daisy at the bottom. So I was going to say we have Old Slow Coach up at the top there, you can see. Man, it's crazy, all the multi-packs you used to get back in the day and all the destinations. So yeah, these are always fun to look through, and it's like a blast from the past. So anyway, I just wanted to show that off real quick. It's funny. It's like this was a total good reason for you to go out and buy more Thomas Wooden Railway items back in the day, because it was like Learning Curve was like, hey, look at all the items that we have for sale, you know, come back and see us again. And now it's none of that. So anyway, there's Lady's character card. And Lady herself, let's see. One thing I've noticed with all these versions of Lady, I don't think I've ever really seen one where she's looking like straight on. She's always glancing. I think it's usually down and to the left, her left, as we see there. She's got some great colors though, and I think that's probably one of the biggest improvements is that she just looks more like a stock standard engine that you would like normally see. With her original 2001 or 2001 version for Thomas and the Magic Railroad, it was just a little on the small side. Her smoke box, her smokestack. What's interesting though is that version of Lady had like a rubber funnel, and so it bent back and forth, and on this one it does not. And maybe that's a good thing. All I know is that I see a bunch of first versions of Lady on eBay nowadays that have been through like 20 years of wear and tear, and a good chunk of them are missing that rubber funnel. I think it just breaks and pops off during playtime after a while. So when it comes to, you know, Lady in terms of my personal collection, I have that 2000, I keep wanting to say 2001, but it really is just the 2000 version. And then I have the 2013 version, which is okay. There are more similarities with this Lady with the 2013 version than I feel like with the 2000 version. And then I also have a Brio Lady. But this one, it was never an item that I picked up as a kid because I always had a Lady, and after all these years, it was never something that I really went out of my way to get, but it just kind of struck me, and hopefully one day I'll be doing a review or a discussion on Lady, so it's important to have all those versions there. She's got the name underneath, and she actually does have a recall code. You can see under that wheel right there. And I presume we have wheels dated 2003. Yep. So she is one of the smallest engines in the Thomas Wooden Railway line. She's actually a little bit longer than a tender of an engine. So she actually might have increased in length, because I feel like the 2000 Thomas and the Magic Railroad version of Lady is much smaller. Like you could fit her chassis on a tender chassis, but maybe I'm mistaken there. But she is one of the smallest engines that has ever been produced for the Thomas Wooden Railway line. So this version of Lady is really, really nice. I want to say that this face is good, and I'm kind of split as to whether I think, you know, the first version of Lady's face is better, even though it's a lot smaller, or this second version is the best. I'm actually not really a fan of 2013 Lady's face, because the pupils are a little bit on the small side, I believe, and it looks like she's shocked. And so that's something that I've kind of always noticed. But this is really nice. And of course, anything from this era of Learning Curve and Thomas Wooden Railway is going to be really nice quality. So this is an excellent addition to my collection, and the primary reason for getting this version of Lady is so that one day I will hopefully be working on some type of review or discussion of all the different versions of Lady, and so in order to do a proper review I did want to have all those versions. So that is Lady from 2006. Let's move on to our next item. All right, so I actually have a lot of big items to unbox in this video. Of course, I showed off a couple of destinations, but then I also have some sets. But here's one of the destinations that I'm really looking forward to. This is the lifting bridge. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but we'll figure that out in a little bit. And this, out of all the items that I have here, this is probably the item that has been in my possession the longest. I got this right after I did my previous unboxing video back in 2019. It came in the mail just like a couple days after I got that done. So this has been in my possession for a couple of years now. I have been so waiting to unbox this item. This is an iconic Thomas Wooden Railway destination in my opinion. I'm hoping to get 2 pieces of clickety-clack ascending track here. And then of course, the way this bridge works is that you don't have to lift or lower this bridge part right here to get engines through. Of course, it's helpful. That's what it's designed to do. But there's always that option. But I think the bigger thing that I've noticed when I've seen this item online is that this roof right here is removable and that tends to go missing, and then these stop signs are removable and they tend to go missing. And these stop signs, you can find them on other destinations of the era like the transfer table and like the highway crossing, for example. So there's another really nice picture of this. And honestly, I cannot remember what I got this item for. I want to say I can't imagine myself spending like more than $40 on this item, even if it's new in box. And it looks down in the corner here, we are working from 2001. So this style of packaging honestly throws me off because I associate this logo with like, for example, that Lady we just saw, I associate with this logo with like early to mid 2000s or so, and I get 2001 is the early 2000s, but that is so right off the bat from, you know, so close to the old brown label packaging that we're actually going to take a look at in this unboxing video as well. So anyway, I think this will actually be a pretty easy unboxing here. Compared to like you saw in the opening, I have like Rolf's castle and the scrub and shine and everything. Those are going to be taped in there pretty good. Actually, we may have to do a little bit of digging here. All right, so it looks like the bridge itself is going to reside in this cardboard box. So this cardboard box here was just for show. I'm definitely going to try to keep this. This is always something that I'm conflicted on because I don't want to throw these boxes away because there are so, you know, few boxes out there that are in like really, you know, decent condition. But these boxes take up space, so I'm going to try to keep it for now, but I'm definitely always on the lookout to try to give these away to another collector or somebody who has a better use for it than me. So I will keep that box, and then this box right here, oh, it's already open. That's nice. I don't know, maybe it was supposed to be sealed, I'm not sure. But everything looks normal, doesn't look like there's been any tampering or anything. So we do get 2 pieces of clickety-clack track, which I have plenty of these, believe me. These ascending pieces, you know, Learning Curve was smart back in the day. If they sold you a bridge or something like that, that you would need these to work with, they included them, and I don't feel like that's something that's necessarily remembered today. So these are awesome, but at the same time, it's not like I'm like in dire need of these, but I'm definitely going to keep them because like new in box, clickety-clack, man, this item is over 20 years old. It has not seen the light of day for 20 years, so that's crazy to me. So we got some cardboard here, and looks like the main bridge is right there, and honestly that's it, and I think that's the 2 stop signs. Yeah, just some extra cardboard, and there we go. All right, that was pretty easy. That was a really easy unbox. So let's see here. We got the bridge. It's a tunnel and it's a bridge. It's a brunnel, I guess. What's super interesting right off the top here is you can kind of see underneath. Oh, well, it's just the lighting, actually. I was like, oh, there's no clickety-clack track underneath, but no, you can see it. It's just the lighting. So, man, this is just old school Thomas Wooden Railway right here. We got this knob that appears on like a bunch of different cranes from the era. Oh, good. I was a little concerned because I thought both of these were one stop sign, and I'm like, well, where's the roof? But this is our roof right here. And like I say, when I see this item on eBay, this roof is always missing. And I really do have to wonder, honestly, why they made this removable. Like, I get it could, you know, be like a part of the play and everything with this toy. But I'm just wondering. So let me just give you my opinion here, having messed with it for all of 5 seconds. So this roof kind of slides on. If you have like the Sling station from this era, or even like the watermill, the gristmill, whatever it's called, it slides in like that. And you can see it kind of has some grooves on the side, almost like these ledges. And so it slides on very tight. And if you watch, there is a fair amount of resistance that I have to put in to get it on there. So when this thing is on, and you pull up, well, I was going to say if you pull up, it really shouldn't give, but it still pops off. Okay, well, never mind. That shoots down my theory. I was like, you know, it's probably designed, probably designed to be, you know, slid back and forth and everything, but then I was thinking, you know, probably something like, you know, it's designed so that it kind of clamps on and it's safe and everything. But I totally get how this can be easily lost. I mean, look at that, barely a nudge and it pops off. So this item, by the time this was released in 2001, the current version, or this version that I have, this had been on the market for a couple of years, and I am extremely surprised they, you know, didn't decide, you know, hey, let's just make this building here, this signal building, all one piece, and let's not make a removable roof. And just include it on there. And of course, I would come and say, you know, well, if you're a parent and you notice this piece keeps going missing, probably time to super glue it down. But, you know, it is kind of a conundrum, I will admit, because it is so hard to slide on. But then I don't think it's actually really meant to be slid on. It's just supposed to just kind of clamp down like that. But I don't know. So it's like, yeah, it's like that, like the top of the gristmill or the Sling Bridge station or something like that. That's what it reminds me of. So anyway, let's talk about the rest of this. By the way, I want to give just a huge shout out to the amount of detail. This is all painted on, it looks like. We have like a little, oops, there you go. You see the roof falling off. We have like a little bit of a mismatch thing here, which doesn't really bother me because these are two separate pieces and they're put together, so asking them to line up is a little bit difficult. I think the coloring is a little bit off. I think this red is a little bit brighter. But this detail, like on a similar item from the Thomas Wood line, or even in the later years of Thomas Wooden Railway with Mattel, this detail just would not be here. I mean, they would kind of view it, they would ask you to view the toy from the front. They might paint this and this, but they would definitely not be painting the inside here. They wouldn't be painting around the back or anything like that. The roof definitely wouldn't be removable. Probably wouldn't even have a roof. So this is just something that, you know, I try to appreciate as much as I can, because this type of detailing is so nice, and it goes well with a lot of the other items from this era, such I think of like the Archstone Bridge, which comes in 3 pieces. We got the same brick pattern there. It helps you get more involved in the Thomas Wooden Railway world, and that's really what this is all about. So the bridge itself, I'm guessing if I just... Oh, okay, so I turned left, I should say counterclockwise, and there's like a spring in there, and it's very, very tight. So I'm going to turn it this way, and yes, this is how we raise the bridge. And then to go down, we go the other way. All right. So this actually has a very nice feeling to it, and as you can see, it locks into place, and that's something I never really considered. I thought it just had to be all the way up or all the way down, and you can't have like this halfway thing. For example, if Thomas wants to come along and jump the bridge one more time, I was thinking you wouldn't be able to, like gravity would pull this down, so you either be stuck here or stuck in like the most upright position or something like that. But that's really nice. Before I forget, let me open up this piece of tissue paper, and like I said, these stop signs have been used in a couple of different items in the Thomas Wooden Railway range, but this was honestly probably one of the last items that I can think of that this was used in, because I mentioned the transfer table was out of date by 2001. The highway crossing had been long discontinued. Off the top of my head, like I said, off the top of my head, I can't think of any other destinations that would have used these stop signs by then. So this is a great destination. On the box, I didn't see a price tag anywhere. But I think, you know, around mid 90s, early 2000s, this probably sold between like $30 and $40, which isn't bad. It forces you, though, you know, it's not just a bridge, it's not just a tunnel, it forces you, you know, to somehow connect your layouts in a way that will utilize both the top and the bottom. But this bridge, I mean, just provides so many opportunities, for example, crashes and stuff like that. I mean, one of my first introductions to this bridge was through a YouTuber named Waylinator way back in 2007, before I was even making videos. I think he had a Thomas Wooden Railway series, and the episode I think was called like Thomas's Big Accident. And I can't remember if he shoved the trucks this way. I think it's like he went over the bridge and then he had to come back, but the bridge was raised, and of course, like the trucks just come and they slam into here. And I think another very popular Thomas Wooden Railway episode that utilized this destination was Enterprising Engines' very first episode, appropriately titled Lift Bridge. So this is a great destination. It was never one that I had to go out and get, because I was like, well, you know, I do have a bunch of bridges and tunnels, and this is kind of like a combination of a couple different destinations I already have. But man, looking at this right now, it's a very solid piece. Everything is super well made. But I do have to say, and I know it's very weird to criticize like a 20-year-old toy, because at this point, who cares? But yeah, this roof here on this building, unfortunately, I'm probably going to lose this in my collection. I might honestly stick it down with like some putty or something, just to try to, you know, keep it in one spot. And then also, these stop signs here, they are going to go missing as well. So a lot of the time you will see this bridge, or you'll see this item on eBay looking exactly like this. And it's not like that area up top where the roof is supposed to be is like painted in any great way to cover it. It's like, no, something is very, very wrong and missing here. So I'm like super impressed with this item. Oh, on the side here it says copyright 2001. Yeah, this is like the heyday of Thomas Wooden Railway for me. This is like when I was really into Thomas Wooden Railway and buying items, and it's weird. It's like I probably saw this exact item in stores like dozens of times from the era, and I just never picked it out for some reason. But this is nice, and then like this big oval mechanism turning rotation knob here is just very nice as well. So I'm a big fan of this. And I think one of the best parts, it's hard to, you know, get this across on screen, but it's just super, you know, dense and durable and put together really nice. And let's see what it looks like with the track down. Super long. We're probably close to like 1.5 feet here. Yeah, that looks really nice. So yeah, I'm super, super happy with this item right here. It looks really nice. And I can't think of a specific example right now on how I would use this in, you know, a future Thomas Wooden Railway layout, but I'm definitely going to do my best to try to include this piece because it's really, really nice. All right, so that is the lifting bridge from 2001 by Learning Curve. I really like this piece, and let's move on to our next item. So I just sang the praises of that really awesome, you know, lifting bridge item for the Thomas Wooden Railway line. Well, let's go in a little bit of a different direction and talk about this version of Emily. So we are looking at like a Tomy version, which if you know anything about the Thomas Wooden Railway line, you know that there are some really bad faces from this era of the Thomas Wooden Railway merchandise line. But this is an item that I bought off of eBay probably over a year ago. And what's funny is that this says it was sold at TJ Maxx, and you can maybe see under the Sharpie it says like compare at $20. I think that's what that says. $20.99, which is not true, by the way. This probably sold for like $25 back in the day. And then it looks like what TJ Maxx was selling it for was $12.99, which isn't too bad. So I ended up getting flipped on this deal because I bet somebody bought this at TJ Maxx back in the day, and then I don't know, to me, it's not that hard to remove price tags from items, and I obviously bought it this way, but it's very weird to, you know, say, hey, I bought it for this item, but then I'm going to charge you this for this item. And I don't know, I just kind of think that's a little weird. I don't know why they didn't take the price tag off, but I'm just gonna say I didn't pay $12.99 for this. I probably paid around, it was like probably around like $25 with shipping or something like that. So there is the Tomy logo, and just to clarify, we got 2012 up top there. So yeah, this is from a weird era of the Thomas Wooden Railway line where they tried to do CGI faces and it didn't really work out. I really don't know of too many good CGI faces that came from this time period, other than I'm a big fan of the Tomy version of Diesel. But like that's like the only one, unfortunately. And there are versions of this on eBay floating around that are, you know, decent condition. You can probably definitely get it for less than, you know, $25. But part of me wanted to buy a couple of new in-box items when I saw the chance, because it is always in the back of my mind that I want to have new in-box items for you guys. So that is 2012 Emily. From what I know, it keeps basically the main body and the tender are the same from, like, you know, the learning curve era with the normal looking face. It's not a great face, but it's better than this one. And really they just came in with their attempt at a CGI face, and yeah, I mean, to me, it's actually not one of the worst offenders. There are some far worse versions out there. Like, I can kind of see in a weird way, like, yes, that's Emily. But at the same time, if you're ever looking for like a custom face to use on like a train or something, well, it doesn't look like enough like Emily that you could probably get away, and people are going to look at that face on your custom train and they're going to be like, what face is that? So that's just, I don't know, that's just a suggestion. But I believe this body is all the same here. It's really weird. Right where the smoke box is, there's like a smudge all the way around. I think that, honestly, that's probably maybe just poor craftsmanship from a factory in China. But anyway, it's just something I noticed. And then also there's like a mark here. Yeah, so Emily, unfortunately, never really got like some good Thomas Wooden Railway models over the years. In a weird way, her wood model that's fully painted is arguably one of the most accurate versions of her out there, which just drives me crazy. I just don't get that. But here's the bottom, as you can see, copyrighted to Tomy in the UK, and also with a recall code. And then the tender here, I know, super interesting to look at these tenders, right? There's really not a whole lot to talk about here, but it says Emily's tender, and the recall code appears to be the same. So yeah, this is from, you know, for those who don't know, you know, when the series went to CGI in 2009, originally Learning Curve did not convert with the CGI faces. I don't know if it was just like a personal decision, if they didn't want to mess with it, whatever. But then, I don't know, maybe somebody at Thomas and Friends came over, or maybe somebody at Learning Curve was like, no, you know, like, we've been selling the trains with the same faces for like 10 years now. Like the last kind of reboot we did was like 2002, and here we are almost into like, you know, 2010, 2011. We probably need some new faces on the trains. And so they came in and they did a job of it. They didn't do a good job. They updated them. I wouldn't say they upgraded them. I don't really consider these to be an upgrade, and I think a lot of people out there would share that opinion. So anyway, this is just, you're probably wondering, well, why'd you buy it? If you don't like it, why'd you buy it? And I knew what I was getting into, but you know, kind of like with Lady, with the Thomas Wooden Railway line going defunct, it has given me a lot more opportunity and time to look at the weird versions of characters out there. And so my goal is to one day hopefully do a review or a discussion on Emily, and to be able to show off multiple versions. And really, Emily remained unchanged. She was introduced around 2003, 2004, from what I remember. And she remained unchanged up until this version. This is like the second version of Emily. And then there was a Fisher-Price Mattel version introduced in 2013. One of them, the very first run, had a red buffer beam that was later taken away. And then we go into Thomas Wood. So Emily has like 5 or 6 versions. from what I can tell. There's obviously like a couple different variants. Well, actually, there's a 2017 version of Emily that was only sold for a couple of months. And then there's like streamlined Emily and all that stuff. So anyway, I knew what I was getting into, but I wanted to buy it. And I probably could have gotten this cheaper off of eBay if I just gone for like a really nice secondhand model with just a few nicks and scrapes, because I'm never going to use this in like an episode of my series. But I came upon this auction from what I remember, or it was like a buy it now or something. And it like wasn't a terrible price. It's like, yeah, that's what I would have paid for this toy 10 years ago. So there are worse things out there than that. And to give me something to unbox in this video, that is 2012 Emily. Not the worst Thomas Wooden Railway item I've seen by far, but definitely nowhere near the best. All right, the camera's pointed at the sky. That can only mean one thing. It's time to unbox a really big item, and this is it. This is the Rolf's Castle Bridge. This item has always been on my wish list, partly because Rolf's Castle is an actual location from the Thomas and Friends series. It's not just some random destination. So I actually got this not too long ago, maybe a couple of months ago, off of eBay, and I think it was like, with shipping, it was around $50, which is probably what this item would have sold for. I mean, I can see this item sitting in like a Toys R Us with a $50 price tag on it. So there's a lot of plastic here. But I'm just more interested in just seeing how this looks. I have seen this item before on other people's layouts, and I think it looks really nice. So really quick, we have like a little picture here. Travel over the moat and through the castle. Speaking of, we got Emily right there, Trevor, James, I think that's Henry right there, Murdoch, and Thomas. Turn knob, see side panel to watch the gate raise and lower. Will it work here? Ooh, it does. Cool. And then I believe there's supposed to be some ramps on the side here that are somehow included. I hope these are included, because they're not on the side right here. So if those aren't included, we're in trouble, because I don't know how that's going to work. And you know, this is from, oh, it's from 2005. I thought it was a little bit later. It says 2005 right there. Man, one of the things that sticks with me, you know, through the times with the Thomas Wooden Railway range is the artwork. They did such a good job of, displaying these toys in a way that you want to buy them. You know, it's like we have the clock tower here, which I have this destination, but this just feels like it's like a snapshot of Sodor. It's really great. And then we even have the suspension bridge, which I didn't even know was sold that late. So, and then they're always like, be sure to buy more. There's a really nice good look at it. But anyway, I think we're gonna have to turn this. Actually, I think we are gonna have to start over here, slide it out, and then there might be a couple of like plastic cables that you have to cut because they don't want. Oh, we have a surprise already. Are these the ramps? Well, there's one ramp and there's the other. Yay! This, I was like hoping and praying these were going to be included, because you know, I was like, well, they aren't visible. And do we have a pamphlet way back there? I believe we do. Look at that. How nice of them. Pamphlet's a little bit crushed. What year is it? It might be the same year. Yeah, 2005. I'm guessing this is like gonna have very similar stuff to the one that we saw with Lady, so I'm not gonna take a look at it. But I think that's all the goodies underneath there. Let's actually slide this out. Maybe. There we go. Okay. So I think somewhere in here, in order to get this out, I'm gonna have to bring in my scissors to cut the tape. Sorry, that's a little bit out of shot, my bad, guys. So we got some tape up here, and then we got to get inside and cut these things. Oh boy, these bring back memories. And back in the day, you know, I had no patience for this, so I was just like, Mom, Dad, can you cut these for me? But now I'm the one who has to do it. So let's see. So these are designed, if you have no idea what this is, these are designed to prevent theft. It's like, you know how easy it was to slide this box out of the other box? It was basically to prevent theft in the stores. I don't know how you could get away walking through like a Toys R Us with one of these like under your jacket, because it's like a very, it's a big item. Probably wouldn't be that uncomfortable trying to sneak it out of Toys R Us. So, but people do crazy things. So I think they even had these. I mean, it's been a long time since I've bought like a new in-box Mattel item that I can remember unboxing, and I think they even had this style of, I don't think it was as elaborate as this, but you know, Mattel, they always like to have their destinations sort of out of the box. You know how this one was like displayed out of, like in the box slash out of the box, they want you to be able to see, versus like the lifting bridge destination, that was completely inside the box. You actually had no idea what piece you were going to get until you pulled it out. So I think this was just more of like a way to attract kids, and they could actually hold the item and see what it was going to look like and all that. So I think we are hopefully getting close here. And now it should release, hopefully. Release? Actually, you know what I could have done? Could have totally ignored those straps on the bottom. I think I just wanted an excuse to talk to you guys, but now I feel silly. Okay. Oh, these are a little bit harder to get back here, if you can see that. Oop. Let's sneak through the middle. Oop. Yay. I got one more to do, which might hopefully pull out. I don't know. It's way back there. I think I got it. But the wires are, they're still gonna cling on. Oh, there we go. Cool. Okay. I've had far worse unboxings than that. That wasn't super graceful, but again, I've had much worse. So let me clean up real quick. Problem is all that plastic stuff just goes everywhere. I'm trying to keep like a nice, neat pile over here, and these little plastic pieces, they just hard to keep it all contained. So, all right. So that actually wasn't too bad. And it comes across, when it's in the box, it comes across as a very big, imposing destination, which it is, but it's a little bit less when it's not in the box, because that box, it's obviously up off the ground, and yeah, like the box, I mean, I get why they display toys that way, because you do kind of want to, you do want them. So it looks like we have like a swinging door on this side, which does not raise or lower. It's almost like a mine door, like if you have like a quarry mine tunnel. It's a little bit thicker, it's way thicker than that actually. And then on this side, you guys saw from the beginning part of the video, there is a lever here, which raises it and lowers it, so you can actually control who comes into the castle area here. Up top, so the thing is, okay, it's starting to come off. I was gonna say, since this was displayed in an open box, it's a little bit dusty. And I'm actually looking through, I don't know if you can see that back there where that water is. There's all this like speckled stuff on the fake water, and it's like dusty. Oh yeah. Yeah, a little dirty. So I'm gonna have to come in off screen, and I think just a wet paper towel will clean this up, but that's kind of one of the weird side effects of taking a toy like this. It's technically new in box, and I'm just used to unboxing stuff and everything being pristine, but it has been exposed to whatever elements it was exposed to before it arrived in my possession. So I was talking about the top here. This is all plastic, and then this actually, it's like a little perch area. It would be perfect for wooden railway figures. This makes me really wish we had like a Sir Robert Norby figure or something like that, because he would look so good up there. So really, as a destination, it's designed to be a tunnel, basically. And it's not set far enough off the ground to incorporate a riser. That's why you have these special ramps here. So my green grass mat has shifted a little bit over the course of this video. So let's see what this all looks like. I might even bring the lady back up on screen and see here. So these pieces, I don't think they can really be used for anything else. It's not like they're really interchangeable unless you want to, get this, if you want to incorporate like a piece of straight track or something between these. Like let's say you had a male piece right there, you could form like a little mini bridge. Wouldn't look great, but that's what you could do. Really, these are proprietary pieces that are meant to be included. and used with the destination itself. So these inclines actually remind me of like the drawbridge. It's like the one where you have to open up the gates in order to let engines through. I can't think of the correct name, but that kind of, it reminds it, we're dealing with the same height here, if that makes sense. So there's some nice detail right here. We got 2005 Ghislaine Thomas. I do like the fact, you can even see it on the side here. We got some, you know, we got some regular rocks, and then as you get closer to the ground, we also got like some mossy rocks, which is nice touch there. So, and I also want to give a shout out to this excellent design. This is actually what attracted me to this item. Sounds a little strange, but I noticed like the rock detailing, even the detailing all the way around. In my opinion, this is when plastic is used really tastefully and it looks super nice, because at the core of it, we still have wood all the way around. It's just kind of like the plastic is accenting the piece, basically. So this is where I don't really have a gripe with them using plastic. So I think if you just, yeah, slide it in, and it's really just meant to be like a miniature hill, and you rise up and you go over the water. And I didn't really know what to expect with this item, but it's definitely not a drawbridge. I wasn't really expecting that, but with the castle theme, I just wanted to make that clear that this piece right here doesn't move. The only thing you can really do, I'm not really sure what this piece is supposed to represent. It reminds me of a lever, but it doesn't do anything. So the only thing you can do to control who comes into the castle is with this gate here. So basically, I mean, you could have some fun moments, I bet. You basically shove some engines in there and they all crash against the gate and there's a huge mess. So I really like this piece. It's definitely a Thomas Wooden Railway castle, that's for sure. And I have like the new Ulfsted castle that was released during the Mattel era, and that's nice as well. But this is just like a smaller, quieter, simple take on a castle. And then we have like this nice, it's like a coat of arms or a shield up there. Yeah, super, super nice. So I am very impressed with this piece. This has been a great little unboxing here. We also got another one up here. Yeah, look at, I mean, all around, this is the type of item that you could look at for a while and just continue to get new details all the way through. Even on the inside of the plastic, look all the way through there. It's detailed. That's something you wouldn't see today. So yeah, I'm like totally blown away and very impressed by this piece here. And for $50, I mean, yeah, it's on the expensive side, but just like that lifting bridge, super durable. It's not going to fall apart. I mean, you could probably chuck this off a building and it would be okay. So yeah, really, really impressed with this piece. And I definitely want to find a place for this on, you know, a future Thomas Wooden Railway layout. I don't buy things just to buy them. I always have like a bigger plan in mind. So whenever it comes to like individual engines or individual destinations, I always am hoping that I'm going to find, you know, a spot for them in the future. It's just sometimes the future takes a little bit longer to get here. I don't get around to introducing these pieces as quickly as I want to, but I am almost blown away at this piece. I don't really know what this is supposed to be up here. I thought maybe I could press it down and it would do something. No. And I don't really know medieval terms that well, or, you know, medieval castles off the top of my head. So I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be. But anyway, we still have a perch up here for Wooden Railway figures. This is Rolf's Castle. Is that the correct name? Rolf's Castle Bridge, my mistake. Really nice, probably one of my favorite destinations that I've unboxed in these types of videos that I didn't have as a kid. Of course, you have that like emotional attachment to everything you had as a kid, but this is really nice, and I can't wait to find a spot for this on a future Thomas Wooden Railway layout. So we just took a look at an item from about 2005 or so. Let's step back a couple more years and take a look at Birdie the Bus in what fans like to call this brown label packaging. If you are a fan of my channel, you know my series, you know my collection videos, you're probably wondering, wait, you don't have one of these? Like, what's the deal? You're going to unbox this? And there's actually a story behind this as to why I am going to unbox this item, because of course this would be like the perfect item to like hang up on a shelf because it's new in box. This price tag here, normally I don't mind price tags on items, but it's kind of big and obnoxious, and yes, it tells me it was bought for $9.99 back in the day and all that. And real quick, we're looking at 1999 right here. So there's a story behind this, and it has to do with a future video on my channel. Basically, I am working on, slash almost completed working on, a custom Birdie the Bus that is going to be revealed on my channel in the future, so don't worry about that. But it involved me... Is there no character card? Uh-oh. Interesting. Well, I might have been bamboozled, folks. Let's get back to that in a moment. I was working, basically, I needed this version of Birdie for a custom, and so I had one in my possession. Of course, I had the one that I used as a kid, all beat up, you know, not very good looking, but I had another one because a couple of years ago, and I actually did this at the right time, a couple of years ago, right around like 2016, 2017, maybe even into 2018, I decided I was going to go out and buy a bunch of old Brown Label era, you know, Thomas Wooden Railway items like Gordon and, you know, Edward, and I already had a Henry. But, you know, I was just going to kind of go in and buy all these items because I could see that Thomas Wooden Railway prices were trending upward. And so if I ever wanted these items in decent condition for a decent price, now was the time. So I went out and one of the items that I bought was a Birdie. I had that Birdie in my possession. I still do, but it has been modified, and the way it looks and everything like that will be revealed in a future video on my channel. But since I modified that Birdie, I do not have another one that is from this era that is mint, that hasn't been messed with or anything like that. So that's why I decided to go out and get this Birdie. Honestly, the big reason I went out and bought all of those items from that era is that if I ever wanted to do remakes or something like that in the future, I've said that for a long time. I used to do remakes all the time back in the early days of my channel. It's somewhat of a gray area now because it's like, technically, using the audio is free use, but YouTube doesn't always agree with you, and sometimes Mattel and Fisher-Price can come in and get a little money hungry, and they can like strike down your channel for ridiculous things. So it's kind of an area that I'm just like not ready to invest 100% in. But if I ever wanted to, you know, if I ever wanted to do remakes again, I wanted to have like some nice versions of characters that weren't all beat up and everything like that. So that's why I went out and bought this version of Birdie. Birdie, I know in the TV series he doesn't have, you know, eyelids or eyebrows or eyelashes, but man, he just looks super, super weird. And also his face is that his nose is slightly yellowed? Maybe just a little bit, it's hard to tell. But anyway, I was expecting a character card to fall out of this lovely box, and that did not happen, and that's not the end of the world. But if this item was truly new in box, it would have a character card inside of it. So that's just a little bit interesting. I don't want to say that the old owner of this toy, like, that seems like a very weird reason to keep this, to sell the toy but keep the character card, unless they're like a character card fanatic. I don't really understand that. But real quick, here is a look at a pamphlet. It's kind of sticking. There we go. New for $19.99. There you go. These switches are awesome. They're super hard to find, but they're awesome. And this is what we had back in the day. I know the angle's not the best, but that is a lot of nostalgia right there. That was like kind of one of the cool parts about buying a new engine, especially if you bought it from a year, like if you were to go out, you know, and buy something from the year 2000 that you had never seen before, you get a brand new pamphlet, and it's like, okay, well, this is what we got out there nowadays. So in terms of this box, yeah, the character card is usually wrapped up in the pamphlet, and that wasn't the case, obviously. So I'm not going to lose sleep over that. I'm mostly, actually 100%, I was only worried about getting this Birdie right here, which it appears to be in new condition. It's not like it was used for a little bit and then put back in the box and claimed to be new or something like that. It looks fine. The box here, besides the price tag, appears to be in good shape as well. And again, I don't really know what I'm going to do with this box. I know a lot of people out there are probably going to say, well, we'll just keep it, you know, because it's like, you know, you can stick Birdie back in the box and everything. But I've never really been one to keep boxes like this. They just take up space, in my opinion. So I kind of have like a stash going of all these boxes that, like, I don't necessarily want, but I don't want to just throw them in the trash. I'd like to give them to somebody. But then the problem is like when you try to ship that stuff out, it's like, well, you're shipping basically air. And it's going to cost you, if it's a big box, like if I were to sell, for example, this lifting bridge box right here, you know, I have to find a bigger box. Unless I were to break the box down, which is, you know, I could do, I would have to find a bigger box, and I could fit this box in this box, and it could kind of be like a nesting doll thing of boxes. But at the end of the day, you're just shipping a bunch of air around, and that's really, it's not one of the best things to spend your money on. But anyway, I'm going to keep all this stuff for right now, and that's the story as to why I needed this brown label Birdie. What's interesting for those who don't know, this version of Birdie, they got rid of it basically and introduced a new version with no passengers and a magnet on the back around 2001, 2002. Apparently due to this fellow who's smoking a pipe. They thought maybe that was a bad influence on children, which rightfully so. But then if you take like the Railway series and you take, the era that is supposed to represent and what the toys are supposed to represent, it's like, yeah, they're definitely, I bet all these people would honestly be smoking on this bus, but I digress. That's why they got rid of it, apparently. I don't think we've ever had official word on that, but that honestly makes the most sense. It does make it sad, though, because this is the only version of Birdie out there that has passengers. All the other ones, you can say he has passengers on the inside, but you don't see their silhouettes in the window, which may be a clue as to why I needed this style of Birdie for a video. But anyway, that's enough about 1999 Birdie the Bus. Let's move on to our next item. So the item that I'm about to show you is honestly one of the most boring, just undesirable items I think that the Thomas Wooden Railway line has ever produced. I might be the minority in that, but that's just kind of what I think. This is a 2-pack called the Percy and the Engine Wash Car. And wherever I go in the world, I like to travel to toy stores, mostly just to see what the selection is. And there have been some toy stores I've traveled to over the years that I've had like old Thomas Wooden Railway items, like items from the 2010s or the early 2000s, even dating back to the 90s. Like I'll show some items off in the next part of this video, actually coming up next as well, that have to deal with that. But the point I'm trying to make is that this is one of the items that I see on the shelves at most toy stores that I go to. Like if they are not getting fresh merchandise from Mattel, and so therefore they don't have a reason to scoot old merch off the shelves and they can let this stuff sit there for years or decades, there is always like a sudsy Percy or a Percy in the engine wash. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. Right around this time, I think this is dated 2009. Yep, 2009. Learning curve and Thomas Wooden Railway was still going strong, but there was definitely like this huge influx of just kind of what I would call unnecessary 2-packs. I think of like Thomas and the Flower and Thomas and the Bees, and this is from that same era, And honestly, I've held out on getting this item because it was just like kind of just so bland, and it's like it really doesn't offer me anything. But I believe I got that item definitely at one of those toy stores. I did not spend a whole lot of money to get this item. I wouldn't have spent a lot of money off of eBay to get this. So I'm guessing I bought this at one of my toy stores, and I have a whole playlist here on YouTube where I show off the items that I've gotten from these stores, or I show the selection at the stores, I should say. And of course, I do buy items from time to time. So, I'm sure people in the comments will be all over the fact, well, this Percy's from this episode and blah, blah, blah. I didn't do my research, although I will say there's a sticker on the front here. You see that right at the top. It says, as seen in Splish, Splash, Splosh. So I'm guessing this Percy comes from, maybe not from the episode Splish, Splash, Splosh, but there was also a DVD. So I know people in the comments, they'll be all over that if you want to know. So this is like your typical 2002, 2003 Percy that was sold for like 10 years. But they've come on and added a couple of details. And it's really just Bubbly Percy, which I guess that's where he gets his name, Sudsy Percy. Doesn't look bad. Of course, I would always love a special face, but he can't be too picky. And what's interesting is right there, that appears to be some grass or some weeds. Well, it feels very rough to the touch. Ooh, I don't know. No. Yeah. So I thought that was like grass or weeds right by his running board here. But I actually you can kind of see, if I move my finger along, you can kind of see it is like abrasive, and it's bizarre how this stuff happens. I mean, that item has been in its box for over 10 years, and I don't really see how it could get damaged in the box without everything else going wrong. So apparently, like, this is an error in the manufacturing. I wonder if it got dropped in the factory and put back on the line or something like that, but those are not weeds. That's actually green paint coming through, like the clear coat that was put on these engines at the time. So that's just interesting. I think this Percy's kind of funny looking. It looks like he's wearing like an old-timey wig that you would see like, I don't know. I think of, when I see those like powdered wigs, I think of like, you know, the UK and British Parliament and lawyers of the time. So I think with the bubbles on the side here, I think like he's wearing like a wig or something like that. And then we have probably what I think is way more interesting than Percy. It's the engine wash tanker. I really can't remember Splish Splash Splosh that well. I've tried to erase that part of Thomas lore from my memory because it was just a really rough time to be a Thomas fan. It was just obviously, you know, like a typical 3 strikes and you're out episode. But I don't know. I think it was like Splish Splash Splosh kind of reminds me. I think Charlie was running around getting all dirty and like he got Thomas and Percy to go get muddy with him or something like that. So maybe this has something to do with the resolution of the episode. Anyway, it's kind of a nice, I could see myself using this as like a portable, you know, engine wash or something like that. But what's funny is I noticed this while it was in the packaging. This font where it says Sudsy Percy is pretty normal, but then this one is a little bit thicker. And I don't think that's on purpose. I don't think these are from different eras. I just think the most logical thing to think of is that the machine that was printing the names on the bottom of these toys, it just looks like that. The font started to run there. Like it kind of gets thicker towards the bottom where it kind of like pools as it slowly dries. Especially the word wash. The S in wash almost looks like a figure 8 right there. So I thought I'd point that out. So that item was from 2009, and as you can tell, there was no character card, so we are beyond the character card stage there, unfortunately. But so, like, you know, this isn't like a terrible 2-pack, but it's like, you know, if you walked into a store at the time and you had $25, I think most people, I think this would have been like the last item that most people would have bought. You know, like they would rather have like a Gordon or a couple pieces of rolling stock, like some Troublesome Trucks, or even maybe even Thomas with you know, some type of rolling stock. So Percy with, you know, some, in my opinion, some unattractive rolling stock from a very forgettable and not so good episode of Thomas and Friends really isn't like high on my to get list. And I have seen this item in several different stores all around the United States. As I travel around, I go to these stores and I try to take, you know, videos and everything. And I've passed up on that item so many times, but then I think it was, you know, I've probably had this item in my possession for a while now, and I think it was like, you know, you get down, some of these stores, they have a lot to choose from in terms of classic Thomas Wooden Railway items, and other stores don't. And you find these places, and they're, you know, they're such hole-in-the-wall locations that you don't want to just visit and not buy anything. It's like you want to have something to take home, but, you know, eventually they're going to be out of all the good stuff if they aren't already, and that, honestly, you know, Sudsy Percy, Engine Wash Percy, might be the only thing that's left. So that's probably why I got this item. So, yeah, like another version of Percy is always great. At least he's like a little bit different, you know, and I could see how some people would be a big fan of this if you want like a mobile on-the-go engine wash station or something like that. But honestly, this item is pretty low in terms of like creativity, design, execution, and it came out of the package chipped. So, you know, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Percy and the engine wash car. That's funny. It's mentioned as a car on the packaging, but it's referred to as a tanker underneath. Very, very interesting indeed. Alright, I've got a couple of quick accessory packs that I want to unbox for you guys. We got a set of road pieces, which I am always in need of, and then, probably more interesting to most people, something called a combination tree pack. But what's really cool about this item is that it comes in that brown label packaging. And honestly, up until just a few moments ago, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to unbox this, but it's like, you know, these are toys. They're meant to be played with. I don't think it's a big deal. So you guys, if you know my channel and my series, you guys know that I have unboxed several road curves over the years. And again, I was just talking about, like, you know, that Percy. Some of these things just tend to stick around a little bit longer than others. And I remember, you know, when road was introduced and then it was discontinued, those road pieces were always hard to find. Oh man, we get a pamphlet. I wasn't really expecting that because it's not like an engine or anything. What year are we looking at here? 2007. There you have it. And I'm guessing the box is the same. 2007. There you go. So, you know, it was like road pieces were hard to find, and therefore I always kind of thought they were rare. But a lot of, you know, the toy stores that I happened to run into, oh, well, that's kind of lame. Is it only 2? Or are the shorter pieces in the back? Okay, yeah, I still feel something. I was like, man, just 2 pieces for $11.99. Oh, boy. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. So honestly, I'm not going to keep this box because I think I already kept one. But I want to point this out here. This is from a store called America's Best Trains and Hobby. And if I believe this is correct, I visited this store in 2020 and I made a video on my channel here. And I just wanted to give a shout out to them. They were in like the Chicago, Illinois area, I believe. And they had a whole bunch. It's mostly just a toy store, but they have a phenomenal Thomas section of just old stuff that you're surprised is even around anymore. But anyway, you might have seen the sticker there. I just wanted to talk about that real quick. So that's where that item came from. Let's see. So yeah, road pieces, not the most interesting thing in the world. But, you know, I just got done picking up a Thomas Wooden Railway layout that was used in the most recent season of my series, and I got to admit, I do have a fair amount of road curves nowadays. So anyway, we got 2 long road curves, 2 short road curves, nothing incredibly exciting there. So let's move on, and also this pamphlet. Let's move on to sort of the second part of this video, short little video clip here, is the combination tree pack. It's so funny, you could have said like forest of trees, but it's a combination tree pack. I do love taking a moment to look at the artwork on the back. Give your Thomas layout a boost of color and country with this assortment of trees. Man, they just don't make it like they used to. We are looking at, oh, there it is, $19.99. And I got to give a shout out to Roman's TWR Empire. He bought a couple more items for me that I'll show off in the second part of this video. But he visited a store. I'll actually show it off. Well, I won't show you the items, but it's called the Train Loft, and I think it was in Greensboro, North Carolina. He went there, and they actually had like a fair amount of like this old 1990s stuff, which is just crazy to me how this stuff can sit around for so long, and the store doesn't go out of business, and the owner doesn't just throw it in the trash after a while. It's crazy. So I think I'm definitely going to keep this box. Not that I like to pretend and, you know, mislead people about my collection, but this is the type of box. This is from the era that you could just sit this on a shelf and it looks really nice. So that's what I'm going to do, probably. Very quickly, we got a pamphlet, no character card, which is to be expected. I don't think they ever came out with character cards for trees. I have been to this location when I was driving across the country a couple years ago, right after the pandemic started, and I was in the Chicago area right around the time that I visited this store that I was just talking about. I spent like 2 days in Chicago because not only is it a big city, but it's also where Learning Curve was headquartered, and man, they made the toys of my childhood, so I wanted to check them out. So I actually visited this place, and I believe this is the store that was I believe this was the office that was downtown. I could be totally incorrect, but it was like downtown Chicago, and the building's still there. It's like an old-timey building, and they were on the 6th floor, and I just stopped by, and I didn't walk in or anything. Obviously, Learning Curve's not there anymore, but I was like driving through the area, and I was like, you know what? Like, Learning Curve used to have a huge presence here. Learning Curve had 2 offices from what I remember. Well, this is interesting. Uh-oh, have I've been oh, okay, I was thinking I got bamboozled again. But it looks like we got, it feels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Phew, okay. That was a little concerning right there. Also, they had one of these things. They actually wanted to hear from you back in the day, and then this is such a 90s thing. You could win a $100 savings bond. But you had to fill out your name and your information, and basically this was how they got feedback. And I actually sent one of these in one time, like 5 years ago or so, and I never heard back because Learning Curve doesn't exist. But I was just wondering if it'd even get there, if I would get like a return thing, something like that. But anyway, Wow, this is cool. So a lot of the trees I have as a kid and a lot of the trees that I currently have in my collection are hand-me-downs, like from eBay or something. They've been through a little bit of abuse. BATL stands for Britt Alcroft Thomas Limited. So this is from 2000. I believe the box said 1999. But there's always been that kind of discrepancy. So we got 2 pine trees. What I would call pine trees. I don't know. What's interesting, one is snowy and one is not. That's kind of a nice touch. They're the exact same mold or design. Yep. Britt Alcroft 2000. It's a little dusty, I will say, but one's got snow on them, one doesn't. And then I got what I would call like apple trees or something. One of these has to have apples on it, I will say. These trees, they feel so good when they're right out of the packaging. You don't have like all the oil on your hands or anything like that. Like these are really, really nice when you take them out of the box like this. Hey, there we go. There's the apple tree. Now I got a funny story about the apple tree because, you know, with anybody, and all the Thomas Wooden Railway people out there, you can probably relate to this on one point or another, but there were always items that like you saw but you never had. For example, I never had Duncan as a kid, so when I started to get back into Thomas Wooden Railway, I like immediately went out and bought Duncan because I was like, I can. Well, as a kid, one of the things that always used to kind of, it wouldn't bug me, but it would always catch my eye is these apple trees, because it was something I never had. I had red trees. I probably had one of these, and I had some pine trees. I had a bunch of pine trees, but I never had an apple tree. And I believe I have a couple in my collection right now, but it's still kind of a rare little thing. So anyway, here are all of the trees lined up. We got 5 of them here. Oops. And yeah, I mean, this just takes me back, and I'm sure some current viewers are like, really? Like trees? Like those really aren't that cool. But you have to remember, and I think this is kind of hard for younger viewers to understand because the current merchandise ranges don't really, they don't really support building a world for the merchandise. Like you look at the push-along merchandise, you know, it's just engines, and there's very few engines. There's hardly any rolling stock. There's no destinations. There's no world building. There's no set building. But with Thomas Wooden Railway, it was always, and I think this is why the range was so successful, it was always like, okay, you are going to create your own Island of Sodor, Thomas Wooden Railway world, and, you know, we have the engines to make it happen, we have the track, we have, you know, bridges and tunnels, you can, you know, get your own Atford Station or your own Tidmouth sheds, and then you have like accessory pieces like this that are really, you know, in a way just as important if you want to fully, you know, get into the scope of Thomas Wooden Railway and the world that you're trying to create. So I'm always never going to turn down any of these accessory pieces, and it's just cool to have these pieces right out of the box. They haven't been manhandled for years or anything like that. So I got a couple trees to add to my collection. Very happy about that. All right, we are down to the last item that I'm going to unbox in this part of the video. This is one of the sets I was talking about, and I want to talk very briefly about this set. So this is called the Bridge and Crane Figure 8 set. I don't ever really see myself doing a dedicated video to this piece just because, I mean, it's a figure 8 set to begin with, so it's not super interesting. And like, you know, there were just like a bunch of clones of these sets released all throughout Thomas Wooden Railway history, so I don't really see myself taking the time to do anything like that, but I did want to show off the box for anybody who is interested. Looks like you can expand. That was always a big selling point, is they wanted you to buy multiple sets and expand them, obviously, and then we got like some destinations to buy, how it works. Very quickly, I think this is from like 2008, 2009. Looks like 2009 right there, if you see at the bottom. So you can probably see right here, we got a $49.99 price tag. On the box, but I did not pay that. I think I paid $30 for this. This was off of Facebook Marketplace, and this was actually when I was driving across the country. I was stopping at a whole bunch of different places right after the pandemic began, and somebody had this listed, I think up in Nebraska, I want to say. And so I just came by and picked it up, and I believe I paid $30 for it, 25 or $30. And you can see even Learning Curve was advertising, hey, this is such a great deal, because we're only selling the set for $49.99, but if we were to buy all these pieces separately, you're looking at $133, which I don't really know if that's the case. That seems like crazy expensive, but Thomas Wooden Railway has always been like a premium product, so that wouldn't really surprise me. So now, let's see. Oh, you got some tape right there. So I am going to set this set up for you guys. I'll probably have to do it off screen, but I'll kind of show you guys like the big reveal and all that. Man, got more tape on the side here. Some over there. Cool. Alrighty. Let's open this up. This brings back some memories, definitely, because I did buy a couple figure eight sets back in the day, and they were always just packaged like this, you know, and this isn't a bad way to package things, but it was just like a very similar setup. So this is nice. We got some instructions, we got a character card, and a pamphlet. I think we're up to like 5 pamphlets now or something, which is a lot more. I didn't really expect that many, I don't think. So, got some tape on this bag that I'm trying to get rid of. There we go. There's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that can go bye-bye. Let's show off the instructions here. This is what we have to look forward to. It's just a figure eight set. The big thing is we have the Sling Bridge, which was a destination sold by itself. I do remember that. But I don't believe this Swivel Crane, I don't think that was ever sold by itself. So it's really nice that they included, you know, physical instructions. And I might keep these. I think I have like a folder where I keep old stuff like that. A Thomas the Tank Engine character card, which I believe I've shown off on my channel before. It says, the most famous of all the vehicles, not engines, the vehicles on the island of Sodor, Thomas the Tank Engine is considered by all to be a really useful engine. He is a cheeky, fussy little engine who is always eager to help. Cool. That's pretty accurate. See, that's like a good description. The one we had with Lady was just like the bare minimum. This is a pamphlet from... Sorry, I'm looking over like my shoulder here to try to do this. 2009? 2008. 2008. I really like that Thomas Wooden Railway logo. That was right when I was starting my YouTube channel, so I have fond memories of that logo. But now let's get everything out of this box, and then I'll set it up to end this video. Ooh, that's a big piece. That's a lot bigger than I was expecting. So that's first and foremost, that's what you get, and then maybe everything else is in these boxes here. Oh, well, here we go. So the crane, which was like in the little, kind of the window of the box, that's here by itself. We're gonna have to undo that. And then I bet all the track, yeah, this, it's so funny how they used to package boxes and boxes. All right, so that's the big box gone. This little cardboard piece here, gone. And let me get myself just a little bit situated. Gonna have to clean off my table before the next video. So we got this box right here, which looks like needs some help. I'm guessing some track and maybe a Thomas, or excuse oh yeah, there is going to be a Thomas engine in here somewhere, but I was thinking of a Sir Topham Hatt figure and all that. So let's take a look. Okay, cardboard, track, here we go. Ooh, beautiful. Beautiful. So we got some straight pieces. The thing is with figure eight sets, you always are going to end up with a lot of curves. That's how they get you. But we got, oh, cool. That's a special piece that actually attaches to the crane, which is currently right here. So that's important. I was never a super big fan of this connection, honestly, because, you know, it's like just include this piece here and let us put the crane wherever we wanted. This kind of just seemed like an unnecessary step to me, to create a special piece of track, you know, with the magnets and everything. But anyway, you know, there it is. Oh yeah, we got a bunch of large curves here. Okay. We got a male-male connector. More large curves. I don't think this set has any small curves. So I'm thinking, let me look at the box again. Thinking, oh, okay, yeah, I see. I was wondering why I was like, there's that large, if you think of a figure eight, the large piece of track that goes like under the hill, why wouldn't they include, you know, like a couple of you know, 6-inch or 8-inch pieces of track, but the thing is, you have this bridge in the way, which kind of ruins the flow of things. So that's why we're getting a lot of small pieces of track, basically. And then, oh, look at that. Untouched. Never before seen. We got a cargo car, which I do have a bunch of those. I have like 40 or 50 of those. We got a Thomas. I don't know what I'll do with this Thomas, because this is not my first rodeo in that area either. And then we get another tree and Sir Topham hats. Okay, so we got a pine tree, a signal, or excuse me, a railroad crossing signal that is dated 2007. The pine tree is dated 2001. That's so funny. I don't really know how accurate that is, but I do tend to find a lot of pine trees. Yeah, see, this is not, I don't think this was actually manufactured in 2001 because it has a recall code on the bottom, and they didn't start doing that till like 2006. So this, I don't know, this may have sat in storage, this may have been manufactured in 2001, sat in storage for a while, and then as they're getting ready to ship it out, they're like, oh, well, new regulations require us to put a recall code on the bottom, or it's one of those kind of the things like with Thomas's wheels, where he's just dated 2003 forever. And there's Sir Topham Hatt, although he's a little bit on this side of the wood piece, if you can see that. And he is dated 2001 as well, but he has a recall code too, so I'm not really sure what to think. And then this Thomas is already kind of open, so I'll just pull him out. Thomas, and let's see, yep, classic face. There are millions and millions of these Thomases all over the world, although less and less every day, because who knows, they probably get thrown out from time to time. So we got a whole bunch of junk here I got to sift through, bunch of cardboard. And I will do one more thing before I cut to show you guys what this looks like. I'll undo this on screen because I know you guys like to see that. Although I have to kind of stand to the side here to do it. And my big fat hands are going to get in the way, I think. So sorry if you can't see anything. These are a little bit tight. You know what? Why should I even mess with this? I kind of just want to come in with my scissors and do what I should have done last time. Okay, well there's part of it. So part of that box is gone. And I got my scissors here, and I'm going to try to, let's see, I'm going to try to shortcut this, but will I be foiled? That is the question. Oh yay, there's one, there's two, and don't have to deal with the twisty ties. Look at that. Finally learned my lesson. And real quick, should take the cargo car out for you guys to see. It's funny how they would wrap the pieces of cargo like not to damage them or something. That's very thoughtful. Except this, it's on there tight, as you can tell. Alrighty, let me get rid of some of this trash. Okay. So this piece of cargo, I have cargo pieces of similar design, but this one kind of has like rounded edges. It's not that sharp, which I don't think I've ever had before. And there's a recall code, and there's a cargo car with Thomas. All right, so through the magical power of video editing, I'm gonna set this up for you guys, and then I'll give you guys a farewell as we move on to the next part of the video. And here we are. This is the completed bridge and crane figure 8 set for you guys. This took me about, I don't know, 5 minutes to put together, but it was just a lot easier to do it off camera so that I could actually, you know, look at the instructions and not mess it up. And believe me, I tried to do it without the instructions, and then I realized I had like the bridge the wrong way and everything, so it was kind of a good thing that I just took my time. So this isn't a bad set. I mean, I bought this for $30 and I consider it to be well worth it. You know, you get a bunch of curves. You also get, you know, like a 2-inch piece right here, a male adapter. I have actually needed more and more of these 4-inch pieces over the years. For some reason, I think I have enough of 6 and 8-inch pieces, but those 4-inch pieces I'm always in need of. The instructions, of course, very simple, but very easy to understand. And then it kind of like talks about, for people who don't know, like that track piece has a magnet on it, and that's where like the swivel crane goes. So let me just show you guys how this works really quick. I have it connected to the piece right now, but it just detaches super easy, and it looks like it just swivels, hence the name. But I thought maybe by pumping the top or something like that, it would do something a little different, but it looks like it doesn't. So, I mean, honestly, this is a pretty useless crane, I got to admit, but the beautiful thing is that it hooks on to that piece of track right there. Whoops. We do get some nice details. It looks like we have a man operating the crane right there. Personally, you know, if I was in charge of this set, I would have just included like a normal 4-inch piece of straight track like this. And then you could place the crane. I don't know, if you want the crane right here or whatever, you can just put it wherever. If you want it in a field over there, it's not a big deal. I just feel like this track piece, you know, when people go to resell this stuff, sometimes all the pieces don't make it back in. So this is a nice set, and of course I'll show off the Sling Bridge for you guys. So unlike the other bridge that I unboxed at the beginning of this video, this bridge you have to raise up in order for an engine to get through. And the way it moves is very, very cool. So here comes Thomas with his cargo car. He makes it through, but then you could kind of do like a bridge jump thing if you wanted to. Probably gonna mess this up. Will Thomas's weight push it down? No. Hey, look at that. He made it. Very nice. But that's the thing, is that, you know, this bridge has to be in action in order for an engine to pass through underneath, which kind of forces the user or the child to actually play with the toy versus just kind of letting it be static, which isn't a bad thing. This is actually really nice. I've seen this bridge on eBay 100 times, but I never had the desire to look into it or even consider purchasing it. But it's not bad. You know, it's just like, when you end up, you know, collecting Thomas Wooden Railway for so long, you end up getting most of the good pieces, and you really just kind of don't want to spend time working on, you know, worrying about everything else. But this bridge is pretty cool. I don't know if I would say, you know, I will say that including it in a set like this was the right decision by far. I think, you know, it would probably be one of the weaker sellers out there being sold by itself. So just including it in a set like this, and like, I don't know, like this crane may have been sold separately or may have been included in like another set over the years or something like that, but it's really not strong enough in my opinion to be able to hold its own. You know, it's like if you're gonna try to sell that along like Cranky the Crane or something like that, I don't think that really works. So overall, I bought this set for $30 and I'm pretty satisfied, and best of all, it barely fits on my little studio setup here. So guys, that's going to do it for the first part of this Thomas Wooden Railway 2021 unboxing video. I'll have part 2 up in just a moment, but I want to thank you all so much for watching. There's a lot of cool things that we have yet to see in part 2, so be sure to tune in for that. Otherwise, I greatly appreciate you guys watching, and thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on the next part of this video.